embark on a transformative journey with me today as I delve into the ancient system of healing known as Ayurveda. In this series titled My Ayurvedic Odyssey, I invite you to join me as I interview individuals who have undergone the rigorous study of Ayurveda at Maharishi International University. Each episode offers you a glimpse into the personal and professional journeys of these individuals, exploring how Ayurveda found them and how they've integrated its timeless wisdom into their lives to enhance overall well-being. My guests share insights and anecdotes that offer a glimpse into the profound impact Ayurveda has had on their lives and the lives of their clients. But our exploration doesn't stop there. We also delve into the future of Ayurveda and the creative ways these individuals envision promoting its growth as a practical system of self-care. With its focus on eliminating the root causes of conditions and improving overall health, my guests offer innovative strategies for integrating Ayurveda into modern healthcare systems and society at large. Join me on this enlightening journey as we uncover the timeless wisdom of Ayurveda and its potential to revolutionize modern wellness. Whether you're a seasoned practitioner or new to the world of Ayurveda, this series promises to inspire, educate, and empower you on your own path to holistic health and well-being. Good afternoon, Rakesh. Welcome to the Healthy Peaceful Podcast.
Thank you, Noreen, for having me here. Good afternoon. Hope you're doing good.
Yeah, awesome. I'm so looking forward to our conversation. We're going to be continuing our series on your Ayurvedic journey, and today it's about your Ayurvedic journey. Awesome. Good. So let's start at the beginning in terms of what initially drew you to Ayurveda, and really how has your understanding of Ayurveda evolved since your initial interest? Let's start with what initially drew you to Ayurveda.
Sure, definitely. So I think to start with, I think it's really personal with my condition where I have like in year 2010 and 2011, I was kind of diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, which is a chronic situation. And it took a while in the Western world to really figure out it was rheumatoid arthritis. It took me a couple of years. And there wasn't really a great way to manage this condition. It was more like either I do some what do you call steroids or try to remove those liquids from those inflamed area, the joints, or do some kind of fusion and then just fuse the joints. So which I wasn't too keen about doing it. And I was looking at, hey, what else can I do to manage my condition? Try to find out, is there a way to figure out what's the root cause that is leading to this condition? And then when I learned about Ayurveda, I mean, I knew Ayurveda before this, but then my interest just exponentially grew after knowing that Ayurveda really focuses on the root cause and not really trying to suppress the symptom. I mean, they do, but mainly it's about finding what are the causative factors that is causing this issue, right? Any of the problem that you're facing. And that's how I really started exploring Ayurveda and started doing some panchakarma, did at least in the year 2014, 15, and 16. 3 years I went back to back into India, into Kerala, where I'm originally from, the southern tip of India, and did panchakarma, and I felt really good about it, like because Ayurveda, rheumatoid arthritis, it's an autoimmune disease. It's one of the Vata disorders. And if you know Vata, it resides, the main seat is colon. And doing this panchakarma, detoxing and cleansing your colon is a key to making sure these chronic conditions are managed better. So that's a little bit more in depth, but that's how my interest.
No, I think that's really useful because we hear now just so much about the gut-brain axis, and essentially the gut in our nervous system, and also just Ayurveda's leaps and bounds in terms of and the bastis and how powerful they can be. And we also hear in Ayurveda that 80% of the diseases are due to vata vitiation, and that's really reflective of our go, go, go and the stress that we're all, grappling with in the modern world, essentially.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you started, it sounds like you really came to Ayurveda through your own personal health challenges. Um, and really many people come to Ayurveda for that reason. And then you actually, uh, took it seriously and decided to do the Panchakarma, which do you want to tell, just for purposes of our audience, what Panchakarma is, a little bit about your experience with that?
Sure, definitely. So Panchakarma, Pancha in Sanskrit or Hindi means five, and then karma is action. So there are these five actions that we do as part of this entire detoxifying, or you can call it as the Panchakarma process. And then not all of them are practiced here in the US, but at least when you go back east, they practice all five steps, I mean, which are if I remember them right, it's like you have Virechana, you have Vamana, you do some Abhyanga, there is different types of Basti. So if you add all of them, it's like those five steps. There is Rakta Mokshana also we do, which is like bloodletting. We don't do it here in the US, but there is like leech therapy. There are different ways that you can get a localized blood cleansed, like removing those impure blood, especially in cases like varicose vein or something that's on your leg, and then you do
It's
leech.
essentially a panchakarma, or for short, PK. A lot of people refer to it as PK. Is a detoxification treatment. It's usually over. It could be as long as a month, but it could be 5 days. So it really varies on your condition, your schedule, the time that you have. And how was that helpful for you in alleviating some of your symptoms and improving your quality of life?
Definitely, definitely it
Okay.
was because I mean, number one thing is you have to have a lot of patience because this is not a quick fix. So that's the
Yeah.
reason, if you heard me, we have to go depending on your condition. Mine was a chronic condition, so I had to go a couple of times, like three times back to back in the year 2014, 15, and 16. And then I slowed it down. Then again, I go once in 2 years. I still go. I was there last June 2022. Yeah, 23 I did not go. So a year before. And it was a good experience, like going there and trying to um, get all your body has to be prepared mentally as well as physically before you start receiving those five actions or the Panchakarma process. But it is a very well guided process. Your practitioner or Vaidya will guide you through the entire step of what they're doing and why they're doing that step. So it's very important that you have a good mindset of receiving those Panchakarma steps, so it's more effective. And I would say it's a good experience, even for wellness, just to maintain your longevity and preventive care. An occasional Panchakarma is really advised.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, so I know that you are recently completed your master's degree in Maharishi Ayurveda Integrative Medicine at Maharishi International University. So you went from your own personal health condition, you did the Panchakarma, which is the Ayurvedic detox treatment. So what made you decide to delve in more deeply and actually sign up and enroll in a 3-year, very part-time online master's program in Ayurveda?
Sure. So as I was going through my personal journey, I'll just give you a little bit background about myself.
Sure.
So I do come from an engineering background. I've done my undergrad in computer engineering from the University of Mumbai. And then I migrated to the United States for work, and I just stayed here and started working in a corporate, trying to use my skills, and then got my MBA from UNC Keenan Flagler, Chapel Hill. That was like in the year 2017. And as I was going through this, I was also struggling with my rheumatoid arthritis, trying to manage that condition. And corporate lifestyle is not that easy. I mean, it's good, but it comes with a lot of its own pain points, like the
Of course,
um,
there's a lot of pressure. And my understanding is that you're a software engineer in Silicon Valley. Would that be inaccurate?
that is right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a highly competitive environment.
Yes.
Uh, I mean, yeah, so there's a lot of stress comes along with that.
Exactly. And part of my when we did this deep analysis of the causative factors for rheumatoid arthritis, one of the thing is yes, it is stress is one of the main factors, and diet and lifestyle, right? So of course the diet with corporate, you are having long hours, you are doing a lot more happy hours, you are indulging in those social setting, and it's good as long as you are able to control. Everybody is different. My body didn't take it that well, and I had prolonged this for so long. This lifestyle, that was one of the key factors. So as COVID hit, so I was still working there. As COVID hit, then something we all realized that, hey, how important it is to have a balanced health and a good immune fighting capability within you, so that you're not like too much relying on this modern medicine to cure you for small things, right? I mean, a common cold, a fever, or body ache, or headache, some basic things. There are good ways in Ayurveda. If you have a good immunity, you can really withstand those disorders, and you can bring balance back to your physiology. So that's something led me thinking that, hey, now that my personal experience, and I have done so much through my personal journey of Ayurveda cleansing and all those. I thought, hey, I was more interested in learning how does it really happen, right? What are the technicalities behind it that is bringing balance using this Ayurveda principle? And that's how, like in the year 2020, when COVID came, we were all remote for at least a year or two. I started looking at, hey, I need to do something in Ayurveda, and MIU came up, and I saw the foundation is meditation, TM, and that's how you really get started into a consciousness-based education and start learning Ayurveda. I thought it was very fascinating, and that's how I enrolled into the master's program. I think this was in the 2021, and I just graduated last December 2023. So in fact, there is a graduation happening this week in MIU, which I'm planning to attend. So very excited to be part of this MIU family.
Awesome. I'll be cheering for you. I'll be cheering for you. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
If not in person, remote, of course. Yeah, so tell me, 3 years is a commitment. And, many people will enroll in the master's program for their own personal health initially, but then they will want to bring it out there professionally.
Yes.
And before we get into that and what your plans are, because I want to hear more about that, I would just like to, anytime you're in an academic program, whether it's Ayurveda, you've done your MBA and other academic programs, there are challenges that are going to come along the way. Um, what were some of your challenges that you can share in studying Ayurveda?
Sure. So one of the thing, I mean, I come from that Indian background. Like I grew up in Mumbai, and then very well versed with Hindi, Sanskrit, and other things. So that was little easy. What I feel like in the West, uh, getting exposure to Sanskrit is very tough, and to understand that, although our course is completely in English, it's good, but there are lot of things that is related to the classical text, and those are translated in English, but there are like Sanskrit terms, Sanskrit words. So the meanings, and a lot of Vaidyas who are teaching, they come from that background of Sanskrit, and for them it's very fluent, right? So for us here in the West, it's a little bit challenging to understand those Sanskrit terminology and stuff. So that is definitely one thing I consider a challenge. Even I had a little bit of trouble, but then I went back, I read something, and I was able to understand the terms, and that's one. Now, when you do
Well,
this,
that's interesting because they really do, you know, a wonderful job in not overwhelming you with Sanskrit, unlike many other Ayurveda programs, actually. But there's something, coming from India, being born in India, there's something in the language that, and something is lost in translation. And even if you don't know what the words mean, there's a vibration in Sanskrit. Is that something that you care to speak about?
definitely, definitely. So when you chant certain things, I mean, we all know there is vibration, the techniques, there are like the sound healing therapies and all. So if we pronounce those words correctly and we chant them, whether it's a sloka, when you say it's like a stance, it gives you enough healing power, right? I mean, that's the reason we want it not
Sure.
to be lost,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
with,
So the even if you don't know the meaning, just making an effort to be with the Sanskrit.
yeah.
There is a vibration and there's a healing energy there that so other challenges
Oh
that
yeah, definitely. I mean, I was just talking about academic. This was good, and my shift was from engineering to medical. So learning the physiology itself, right? All the, I mean, we all did biology in our high school, a little bit in our
sure.
college, but then people who are on a different track, like I understand if some of the medical professions they come to Ayurveda, it's much easier compared to for us. It's a complete shift to really understand how does your heart function, how does your lung function, kidney. So you had to go back to the roots, refresh those things, and that was kind of challenging because hey, we don't do that on day-to-day basis, right? Our job was in corporate working. So that I felt a little bit challenging, but it was good. It's a good learning, trying to understand how does your entire physiology connect, right? And how does it function. In addition, since we were doing part-time, finding the time, because everyone had to do some, I'm assuming like all the students in our cohort, they all had a job, right? And we have twice webinars, like on, I forget the days, it's like either Tuesdays and Saturdays or Wednesdays. Then you have clinicals, you have group studies, you have midterms, all kind of quizzes. So it's
Yeah,
like
it's
commitment.
it's the whole idea with Ayurveda is balance and working on really kind of removing the blocks that are creating the stress. We do that through the practice of transcendental meditation, which is our paramount practice. Um, so really refining the nervous system, but then of course being a student is inherently challenging. And so yeah, it does take a lot to manage all that. And like you said, most people are they have families, they have a lot of other commitments. So it does take a commitment to that process. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Yeah, and how about, real highlights for you, things that um, you discovered, you learned about that were you just didn't expect, were really useful to you in your own personal Ayurvedic journey.
Definitely. So understanding how Ayurveda works on the fundamental elements itself, like everything is starts from there, right? You have the Pancha Mahabhutas. I mean, I knew a little bit, but how everything is built on top of that, whether it's a dosha, whether it's a, so if you tie down any of that, so I just want to pause here and go back to explain a little bit about this five fundamental elements, which is space, air, fire, water, and earth, right? So these are the five fundamental elements, and every living or non-living organism is composed of these five elements. It's just that some element can be a little bit in excess, some could be a little lower, but overall we find a balance. And what happens is if any of these elements really go out of balance, that's when you really start seeing these disorders that's manifesting in you, in your physiology, right? So this was really eye-opening to me how Ayurveda was built on this. And slowly everything is built on top. Like then you build doshas, then you have prakritis, then you have vikritis, which are imbalances, and then how majority of, like you told that Noreen, that 80% of disorders are vata disorders. So now knowing that vata dosha is made up of space and air, which is all the time moving, right? The air takes you everywhere. If that gets out of balance, it could create imbalances is any of the other doshas also. It could also create imbalance in your pitta dosha or in your kapha dosha just because of this vata. So it's so important to have this vata dosha in control in a good way so that you can have a nice balance in physiology and have overall a better lifestyle. So this was really eye-opening to me, like, hey, how simple it is. I know there is a lot more uh, theory and other things on top, but if you really break it down, everything boils down to these five elements. And I was like amazed to,
Yeah, yeah, you start seeing everything through the lens of the five elements. It's like,
yeah,
it's you just and somebody recently described to me, they started seeing every other person as, oh, that's, the kapha, or that's vata, or yeah. So I think it does really help. There's
yeah,
no doubt. But we all have deep-seated patterns and habits that aren't necessarily beneficial but are tough to shake. And they might not be to the level of, an addiction, but maybe it's just the coffee habit where, we just can't kick it. And even though our Ayurveda goes back obviously many, many 5,000 years, but we really want Ayurveda in the modern world. So let's talk about that now. And then I want to get into habits. I want to shift, sorry. So Ayurveda in the modern world, because wonderful, I'm going to bring everything into balance. But if somebody's just getting started with Ayurveda and they're thinking about their modern life, where would you suggest that they start looking at things? Like if they were to do, even a book, resources, and they don't want to, they really want it to be applicable to their modern life, because that's really the key.
sure. That's a good question. I'm just thinking, I mean, there are many resources out there on internet.
Sure.
If you search Ayurveda, you will get, but what to trust, it's a challenge, right? I mean, we don't know
Yeah.
who's putting there. I mean, every site, like, I mean, the credible sites like MIU site is there. MAPI site talks a lot about the products and everything. There is like as a common man, if you really want to look at, I mean, there are good resources on internet that really talks about the basics of Ayurveda, what he can do. Like you said, in modern life, I feel that we are too fast. I mean, in modern life, we are trying to do things too quick. We are always on the move. So we don't take time to really reflect on ourselves, get some self-help. So that piece is missing. And by learning a little bit about Ayurveda, you can see how Ayurveda can help you. So Ayurveda is not just about herbs alone, right? People mostly misunderstand thinking that, hey, Ayurveda, just take some turmeric tablets or moringa tablets or something ashwagandha, and that's what comes to their mind. Or the oil pouring like panchakarma, that's what comes to their mind. But it's more, even without doing all this, right? Not taking a single herb, not doing panchakarma, there are so many good suggestions based on Ayurvedic principle that is all about your diet, what you are having, your lifestyle, how you are. So these things are out there. Lot of sites, lot of things. I don't want to name them here, but we can easily talk
Sure.
hours and hours on this. But my advice would be to read something which is credible out there, and then start looking at from that Ayurveda lens in this modern life. Which principles can you take, and it's easy to implement as a 21-day habit, right? I can take simple thing is there is something called dinacharya means your daily routine, and we in Ayurveda recommends to have a routine. Number one thing, when we do not have a routine, that's when certain disorders start, and one of them is like vata disorder is because of you do not have a routine, a regular routine of waking up at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m., trying to do your morning routine of maybe oil pulling, cleansing, something which is way better to get rid of all your bacteria, everything that is in your throat area. We call it as gandusha. And how do you start your day? Like spend some time, quiet time. It doesn't have to be a TM meditation, but start just closing your eyes, sitting there, and trying to just relax. Let's not have any thoughts. If it comes, let it come, but just relax and close your eye, so your day begins really good. You can do some pranayama, some yoga. Ayurveda also recommends doing yoga steps, like, and then talk about your breakfast. What kind of food can you have, right? You do not want to have a heavy breakfast. Making lunch your main meal and having a very light dinner.
Yeah, no, you bring a really great point, Rakesh, and that is, um, you know, these aren't necessarily these small changes have a cumulative effect.
Yeah,
In turn, just like, our habits that aren't positive have a cumulative effect. So if we can just focus on a few small habits to begin with, and looking at the cycles of the day and our daily routine, and starting with some quiet time, starting with morning light, those things over time can have a profound effect on our health and well-being and just our level of joy, you know. So Maharshi said, life is to be enjoyed. So, let's bring it on, that's
yeah.
what I'm thinking. Let's shift a little bit because I do want to talk about what you're doing with Ayurveda now. But before we do this, um, it's really tough. Well, let's talk about habit change. Um, you're a software engineer, so I'm going to say you're a Pitta guy. Maybe I'm off, but so Pitta's like looking at, well, how can I change a habit? Like you refer to the 21-day habit. And a lot of Ayurveda is about habit change. But we've got these things, we've got these, what have you found in your life? Maybe one or two suggestions for people in terms of creating a positive habit, whether it's meditating in the morning, taking the morning walk, getting up before 6 a.m., not looking at your phone right away. Any suggestions that have been helpful to you that could help others in terms of starting this process?
Sure. One thing that has helped me is not to bring in too many things as a change. Just take one small one, right? And then
Okay.
slowly increment that so that you
Yeah.
can form that habit. That has helped me a lot. So when I started this course, MIU, I have been meditating since that, because TM was a prerequisite before we could do any course at MIU. And I've been doing it for the past 3.5 years now, like regularly, at least once a day. I try to do it twice a day. So that routine happened because, I mean, of course, there was an enforcement. I mean, something, right? Because without that, we couldn't study. Believe me, this TMS helped me a long way, because helped me grounded, helped me focus more, get to do, I mean, I don't call myself a multitasker, but like a serial tasking. Even when you do that, you need a lot more focus, and TMS greatly helped me. So that's one thing I made sure.
Yeah, you bring up actually obviously with TM, Transcendental Meditation Technique, we're connecting with the source of being, the creative intelligence. But what you're bringing in is just the practical aspects of taking that time to settle the nervous system and the mind.
Yes.
That when you are out of meditation, you have so much more. You're more effective. You're more creative. You're able to. You're more adaptable to stress. It's TM is like an adaptogen. So it's. But yeah, I mean, so I've heard actually Dr. Wallace, who's the head of the physiology department, he has referred to TM as a super habit. And it's sort of like the funnel. If you get that habit down, then a lot of other things are a lot easier. But yeah, but you bring up a good point that don't try to give yourself. The one thing is you can be in an Ayurvedic program, you can be in a health and well-being program, but you're still bringing your old, you're not really shifting that, looking at your own life in terms of, okay, what do I need to do to get myself into balance? Versus just get your assignments in. But you bring up a great point is just do one thing,
Yeah.
whatever that might be. Set your priority
Yeah.
and don't overwhelm yourself.
That's
And
right.
that one thing might be try to get regular with your meditation practice, because then you might be able to do other things
Yeah.
with that. So
Yeah.
awesome. Great.
And then slowly, gradually introduce another thing. Slowly you do it, so that then it becomes an habit, right? Then you know that, hey, it's 7 a.m. 1 hour is for just myself, 7 to 8, right? In the morning, I'm not going to take any phone calls, nothing. I'll just get my routine done. And same thing in the afternoon, like if time permits, like 4 p.m. or 3 p.m., just keep like 1 hour for yourself, so that you can take care of that routine, whatever you're
Right.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you hear so much. You're living in a very an environment in Silicon Valley, which is, very performance driven. And we hear a lot of in just performance podcasts and that sort of thing about morning routine, and that many high performers have a morning routine and they'll be willing to, they'll describe it. It's kind of funny that Ayurveda also has a morning routine and emphasizes the morning routine for optimum health and well-being. So awesome. You know, I find that with Ayurveda, and just to me, Ayurveda it's not one or two things, it's a way of life. Eventually, eventually it's a way of life. Which is to me just remarkable. But how do you really support? It's hard to support an Ayurvedic lifestyle or any other positive changes that you're really trying to implement. If somebody's really trying to shift into more of an Ayurvedic lifestyle, perhaps they've dabbled with Ayurveda and some of the things, but they really want to go all in. How do they get support for that, and how do they sustain it?
Sure. I mean, one is, of course, there is communities here, right? Everywhere we are trying to build that community of support through various ways. There is a practitioner-led community in each area. You can tap into those. Try to consult or see if you can work with an Ayurvedic practitioner into this general coaching thing. If we can do that, and then, of course, we need support from friends, family. So I can shift gears into what I'm planning to do, or we can talk that later on about the community we are planning to build. But I totally get this point where if there is no support system and you're left to pick things on your own, I mean, you will drop off the cliff, right? You may not be able to continue that journey of Ayurveda and try to stick to all the good things that Ayurveda has to offer. But of course, you need some guidance, some support, and I feel that uh, that friend family support system and practitioner community and all those combined, some resources that the individuals can tap into so that they have a good guide. There are many programs out there. It's just that you don't want to get lost and be overwhelming by seeing like so many resources that can be found on internet, but you don't know what to
Sure.
trust. So that's
Yeah,
where,
well, this is great. Let's segue into how you're bringing Ayurveda out into the world from a professional perspective. So let's talk a little bit about this community that you're trying to build.
sure, sure. So, as I embarked on this journey of Ayurveda, learning at MIU for 3 years, I mean, I figured that Ayurveda is still not known in the West. Ayurveda is quite popular in the East, but in West, people don't know about Ayurveda, what it can offer. So something came to my mind, and we decided, like, I'm working with another partner of mine. He's also an MIU graduate, a cohort of mine. We both decided that, okay, we have to bring this Ayurveda to every household, at least let them know what can we do to build a community, right? And that's how this solution called as ojastattva.com was born. I mean, we just launched the beta version of Ojas Tattva at the NAMA conference that just happened in 2024 May.
But it's all under one website, which is advaitaprana.com.
Yes, yes. So
And Advaita is Advaita prana.com. I'll include it all in the show notes, but I just want to be sure that people can find it. So
sure,
under
sure.
advaitaprana.com, they can find this Ojas Sattva.
Yeah, yeah, thanks, Noreen. Yeah, I was going to go there. So the company
Yeah.
name is Advaita Prana, and it would have multiple solutions. One of the prominent solution that we are very proud about building this community is Ojas Tattva. So that's OJASTATTVA, ojastattva.com. It's a little tongue twister, but Ojas, we all understand it's the ultimate state of metabolism, the blissful state, and tattva is the principle. So we are trying to say that, hey, what is it that's needed for this community to get the ojas level very high, right, in ourselves?
So Ojas is that, when you look at somebody, they are radiating health.
Right.
It's what everyone wants,
Yeah,
is they want that optimum vitality.
that's right. Yeah,
And sattva is what will bring them there. And sattva is just that level of awareness, and it's that grounded in self, and it's a state of balance and bliss in the mind, body, and spirit that will
yeah,
bring, and it will be manifested, and the luster will appear as ojas.
yeah. Thank you, Noreen. So
Okay.
well said. Yeah. So basically, this portal ojastattva.com
And
will
this is a portal for the community, so anybody can access Ojas Sattva.
Yes, anyone. It's free of cost. We are not charging anything. And what we are
Okay.
trying to do is put some high quality content there. Like you were saying that, hey, where can people find some good content on Ayurveda just to start with, right? So this is a place like you could go on ojastattva.com and try to look up. And it's not just Ayurveda, anything to do with holistic healing, right? You can just horizontally look at things like yoga, you can look at Vastu, astrology. So we are trying to bring experts from all these areas, Ayurveda, yoga, and give content that they can give. which I feel that everyone should have free access to. Like this could be things like what is Ayurveda, history of Ayurveda. Then you can say why Ayurveda focuses on diet, right? That could be another video. Or we can say how is Ayurveda helping you manage your diabetes? Like what are the tips and this? Like so small videos that if people can learn, they can listen to this. And we are hoping to have podcast also on this, so that way when people are driving, that's when it is much easier. I tune into podcast and stuff when I'm driving on Spotify and other channels. So this would really help that community to continue their wellness journey using all the holistic healing approach that this platform has to offer, right? And we don't
Great, that's awesome.
yeah.
And is it you said it's more than Ayurveda, but are we it's a Vedic sciences essentially, yoga, Vastu, Jyotish, Ayurveda.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, and
great.
some home remedies and diet. We want to give those things. And another thing is we do not have a marketplace. When I say a marketplace, it is bringing in all your clients and on one side all the healers who are providing services together on a platform. So we don't have that today, right? Of course, everyone is practicing Ayurveda. They have their own site and a limited set of clients, but our goal is to have this community, this big marketplace where people can come in and they can search Ayurvedic doctors, practitioners around the world. I mean, locally also they can search, of course, by specialty, by date, by when they are available, a lot of good features. And we won't stop at Ayurveda. Of course, we just have started with Ayurveda for now, but our plan is to take it to yoga, take it to astrology, marma, vastu, so that while people are in their journey, I'm sure they will look at like, hey, when I'm trying to build a house or buying something, why is Vastu so important? Why should your house face on the east? Why should
Well,
kitchen?
this is the multimodality approach of Maharishi Ayurveda. That Ayurveda is one component, but Vastu is similar to feng shui in terms of looking at your built environment for um, optimal wellness, essentially. So it very much relates to Ayurveda. Well, awesome. And I know you're going to be calling the practitioner component something else. So
Yeah.
we have Advaita Prana, we have Ojas Sattva, and then what will you be calling the practitioner component?
Yeah, so we have a solution called as Ayur Sathi. I mean, this is all under ojastatwa.com. You'll find it, but
Yeah.
Ayur
Okay.
Sathi, Ayur Sathi is the name of the solution we are
Sure,
offering
sure. Okay.
all practitioners. So Ayurveda practitioners, we have put in a lot of effort in coming up with that solution. So it's basically as a practitioner, I get free marketing on Ojas Tattva. I can list myself free of cost, $0, right? Our base package is $0. So we are promoting Ayurveda. We want more and more practitioners and doctors, Ayurveda doctors on this platform, so they can be easily found on Ojas Tattva.
That this is great. So this is a platform that's useful for both. It's bringing the practitioner community
Yeah.
together with the consumer, which is super important. It's one stop. People can go there. How do you? Let's talk about the future growth of Ayurveda because yoga is a household word. Ayurveda, no, it definitely isn't. Um, and it is so important. Recently, in my job at the university, one thing that came up was, I love this. One of the applicants said, I'd like to bring health to every single person when I asked her what her goal is with Ayurveda. What is your goal with advaitaprana.com?
Sure. So, number one goal is awareness. We want to make sure that everyone here, not just in US, but in the world, right? If they can understand what Ayurveda has to offer, the benefits, um, I think we will feel that we achieved that goal, right? I mean, of course, there is some monetary aspect to it, just for us to financially sustain. We have to make some revenue so that we can continue doing this good thing. But our number one goal is spreading the awareness of holistic healing, bringing Ayurveda to every household, and then help the practitioner community to grow their business, their practice, coming onto this platform. That's another thing. And slowly help all other modalities, right? Whether it's Vastu, there is Jyotish, astrology, all that community is very small compared to various other professions out there in the West. So we would like to encourage this community to come back onto this platform and showcase their skills and talents, and then people can find them, right? And then can use their
That's the
services.
important thing, is that it's a centralized point for
Yeah,
people to go to. And really, I think it's also, I love the educational component, that if somebody's new to Ayurveda, they could go on Oja Sattva under the advaitaprana.com umbrella, and they can start learning about Ayurveda. So it's a way to really dip their toes in, which is how people start. That's important.
that's right.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah. Um, if we look at the current healthcare model and the healthcare paradigm in the US, let's just focus on the US for the moment. Obviously, there's lots of things that aren't working that well, both from the perspective of practitioners and um, patients, consumers. How do you see Ayurveda creating a shift or contributing to a shift in our current healthcare paradigm?
Sure. I think Ayurveda would play a big role. So as you see, the healthcare cost is only going up, right? I mean, we all have noticed that over the past decade, or even
Right.
the insurance costs have gone through the roof, right? Health insurance is not easy. It's very hard for people to afford. Now, what can Ayurveda offer? And Ayurveda is here to go side by side with that modern medicine. It's not trying to replace modern medicine, right? That's one thing we want to be very loud and clear, and say that Ayurveda is about prevention. It's about managing your condition. We're not claiming that we're going to cure, and we do not need modern medicine. But what we can do is educate the clients, try to bring them on the path of holistic healing, and try to see that how can Ayurveda coach them to have a better life through diet, lifestyle modifications. And that way they can prevent a lot of disorders. And once that is prevented, you are not going to see that doctor for like small things, right? I mean, we are not going for a simple fever or something that's we can manage it. And rather than popping a pill, we don't want to do that too, because that's actually getting into a habit, and you're building your immune system to a habit of having a medicine in order to cure yourself. Your body has the capability to cure yourself to certain extent, right? So we want to do that. That's how I see that Ayurveda can come and play a big role and try to reduce this cost. And it should help modern medicine also to focus on certain things, like focusing on probably keep on building. I don't know, like some cure for cancer, some cure for other disorders which cannot be, like today there are many disorders that cannot be cured. So that's where I feel modern medicine with the science, I mean, Ayurveda also has a big science behind it, right? It's not like a myth or something. There is a lot of evidence-based uh, studies done on Ayurveda on thing. So I feel that both this can coexist and try to help each other both ways. That way, we
Mhm.
overall reduce the cost for the common people. Try to, help them in their journey. That's what I feel Ayurveda can play a big.
Yeah, yeah. I think cost is a big thing, that the current paradigm is really not sustainable. And it has a significant impact on every aspect of our economy, there's no doubt. And really good points, Rakesh, really good points. And so we're going to bring this to a close. Do you have any final words that you'd like to share about your personal, professional journey, where you're going with Ayurveda, anything whatsoever.
Um, no, I feel very excited. I mean, very much looking forward to bringing out Ayurveda to this world. I mean, I know there are many other practitioners and Vaidyas who have spent their life. I'm just starting my journeys. There's a long way to go. But at the same time, I feel that, hey, whatever I've done so far in the short period of time, looking at that, I can do way better, more to help the community, whether it's through education, through services, through products that we can bring to them. So definitely, yeah, I'm looking forward to bringing more and more to this community.
Great. I love it. I love it. Awesome. And where can our viewers and listeners find you?
So I'm on LinkedIn.
Okay,
They can look me up on LinkedIn. My
sure.
first name is Rakesh, last name is Balakrishnan. You can look me up. I'm on advaitaprana.com, which is ADVAITA Prana, PRANA, prana.com. And you can look me up, connect me. More than happy to collaborate and get more ideas from all listeners, anything because everyone has very good perspective. I think if that mission is aligned, our vision is aligned, I think, we can do great things and bring really Ayurveda to the forefront here in the US and everywhere else too.
Awesome. Well, what I do love is the fact that you're taking you're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And what I mean by that expression is you're taking your business experience and what your unique talents are, meaning you're in the software world, you're a software engineer, you understand technology, and you're bringing that to Ayurveda. So thank you for that, you
Sure.
know,
Thank
because
you.
many students will come in and they'll think, oh, I need to give up. I need to just, what I did before is not useful, but what you're showing is that you bring the talents and what you bring to the table to Ayurveda to push it forward. So I really love that. Thank you for that so much. Awesome.